And welcome back to Man the Helm podcast. Today I have John Macready. How's it going, sir?
Good, good. How are you?
Not too bad, man. So we met about almost a year ago now. I went to Woodshed 2024, man. It was a fantastic experience. Everything that the uh, ads said it would be. And I don't mean
Nice.
that, and yeah, but it was almost kind of a surreal experience. I've done VIP stuff, I've done stuff like that, but it was just like next level.
Awesome. That's great to hear. It's hard to explain it if unless you've been there. When you're trying to explain it, it's just like you just got to
Yeah,
come. It's
yeah,
so
yeah.
different.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, that's just before we get into the woodshed, that's just such a tiny aspect of all that you do. I'd really like to start at your backstory, man, because I really don't know like a whole heck of a lot about you. So we could get
Mhm.
embryonic if you want, and
Yeah.
where'd you grow up, and we can kind of work our way up to where we are today, if that works for you.
Sweet. Yeah. I grew up in Santa Monica, California, right by the beach. And, I was just a normal kid, loved soccer, sports, stuff like that. My cousins got into gymnastics, and then my older brother got into it, and I just kind of followed and loved to flip. I mean, I didn't really even know what the Olympics were or anything like that.
Right,
And so I just kept doing it. And it just, I mean, I don't really remember too many times in my life when I didn't have gymnastics in my life. Like that's how young I got started.
for sure.
And then 1984, the Olympics came to Los Angeles, and that's the first time I kind of learned what the Olympics were all about. And my dad, they didn't take us to gymnastics; it was too expensive. We couldn't afford it. But he took me to boxing. Got to see boxing, and that was pretty cool. But the biggest memory I have is we went to the California Incline, and they were running the Olympic torch into Los
Hmm.
Angeles. And my dad's telling me all about the Olympic torch and what it means and what it represents and how it comes all the way across the world and all this stuff. And I see it come up the California Incline, and at the time it was a big deal. Now you'll laugh, but the guy carrying it was O.J. Simpson.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
here's this guy carrying this peaceful torch,
yeah,
and at the
yeah.
time everybody, thought O.J. Simpson was the man. In fact, if you do John McCree, no, if you do O.J. Simpson 1984 Olympic torch, the cover of LA Times, you could see me on the guardrail with my brother, like just
Well, that's
staring at
cool.
the torch
Yeah.
coming up. And that was what it took. That was when I looked at my mom and my dad, and I'm like, and my parents were separated. So I probably looked at my mom later because I was normally with her, and I said, I want to be in the Olympics. And my mom was one of those
Hmm.
moms that are like, whatever you want to do, little Johnny, anything
Right.
you can do in life, you can do. You say it and you do it. And so then I just was that kid. I was like, I'm going to the Olympics. I'm going to the Olympics. And then other people would say, I go to the Olympics. One of my best friends from third grade is Red Foo from the band LMFAO.
Okay. Yeah.
They've had those big hits like Section I Know It and Party
Hmm.
Rock Anthem. And he was my best friend in third grade. And I actually just turned 50, and he told the story the other day. He's like, I've never had or seen someone 9 years old say, I want to go to the Olympics. And then they do it.
Right.
So he remembers me saying it too. But I had no idea what I was talking about, no idea how hard it was going to be. And then but I just kept working towards it. And there were so many people put in my life that without them, I would have never made it. One, my mom. Two, my guardian in high school, Steve Butcher, who basically I lived with him. I moved away from home when I was like 14 years old to train with Steve because he was moving to San Diego. So after 14, I never returned home. And from San Diego, I went San Diego to the Olympic Training Center and trained there for 6 years. I made the Olympic team. I made the World Championship team in 1995. And when I first got to Colorado Springs Olympic Training Center, that was my first hit of reality of like, there's a
I
lot
was
of people. There's
I
a
was
lot
gonna
of little
say
Johnnies.
it had to have been a surreal moment and kind of almost an overwhelming moment too.
Yeah, it was because I also wasn't the best kid.
Yeah.
I was far. I had a long way to go, and so if you would have taken a picture of everybody that day, I mean, I would be way bottom on the list to
Hmm.
make the Olympic team. Um, and out of that group, I became the only guy that made the Olympic team, and I think the main reason was that the people in my life, I would ask lots of questions. Like I knew my path to the Olympics wasn't going to be it's going to be different. Everyone's is different. It's like a fingerprint. And so I was very tuned in on finding like my path and what I needed. Because when you're on a team, which is great, a gymnastics team, coaches tend to give the whole team the same workout. You know, like this is what we're doing today. And my strengths were and weaknesses were so much different than everybody. I'm like, this, how am I going to get that if he's doing that? You know, like, and
Mm-hmm.
so I kind of broke the mold and went and met with the weightlifting coach. His name's Dragomir. He was the Olympic weightlifting coach. I said, how do you guys build muscle? You know, how do you guys get strong? What do you guys do? This is what I'm trying to do. And it's not working. And he basically said, you have to completely exhaust your body to where you can't even lift your arm in the muscle group that you're trying to get stronger at. And then you have to give it at least 24 hours, maybe in 48 hours to rebuild. And then you need to do it again. And when he says exhaust your body, I was like, oh, okay, like 4 sets of this, you know, and he was like, no,
Right.
eight to 10 sets. And you just do 4 exercises. And so I took this, and my coach didn't really agree with me because the gymnastics philosophy was like, you get done. And if you want to learn an iron cross, you do 2 sets of 5 iron cross pullouts, you know, and then
Right.
we do some box jumps, and then we do some handstand push-ups. And I'm like, this is keeping me in shape. This is not going to get me to what I need to get to make the Olympic team.
Mm,
And so I would come in the gym, or afterwards, everyone would leave. I'd do my own strength program, and I kind of made stuff up. And then I would take 24 hours off, and I'd do it again. And it changed my whole gymnastics. Like I got an iron cross. I got what's called a planche, where you can hold yourself like straight out, which all those were requirements for the Olympic team in 96. And if I hadn't met Dragomir and asked those questions, there's no way that would have happened. So for me, it was just really like seeking out those questions of how can my path and my journey be different. And then the biggest thing I learned on the way was just um I called it I used to have this chart of every day would have the numbers 1 through 10 on the chart. And when I went to bed every night, I would judge myself whether I could circle a 10 that day, whether I did everything I could under these 5 things that I gave myself. Did I do everything I could on these 5 things to be the best I could be that day? And I would circle what I got. And I had like a 9 sometimes. I was tried to be pretty honest, you know. I might
yeah,
have had
for
an
sure.
8 here or there, but most of them were 10s because you turn the lights off at night and you wake up in the morning, you're like, I'm not going to bed circling a 9 tonight, you know, like
Right.
you got to do one more rep. You got to do one more rep. Like you're not giving anything in. And what I would do is I would say, when I was circling 10 with the 5 things, I called it 5 things to rid yourself of unnecessary pressure and distractions. Because I realized my mind was completely focused on things I couldn't control. Making the
Mm-hmm.
Olympic team, making people happy. Will I get this? Or will I, you know, all these things that was wasting my energy. And I just needed to think about these 5 things. So the 5 things were team, opportunity, initiative, um, team opportunity, no, team responsibility, initiative, and details. And those things to me were the things that I needed to concentrate on. Did I take all the initiative I could? Did I talk to Dragomir? Did I ask the questions? Am I looking at the details? And when I ask those questions, am I really studying the details? Am I looking for opportunities? Like, for example, my worst event was pommel horse. I knew I had to make my pommel horse to make the Olympic team. And they had like a visitor center at the Olympic Training Center. So I went to the visitor center. I said, hey, anytime you have a tour group on Tuesdays at 2 o'clock, bring them to the gym and I'll do a pommel horse routine for them. So the
Okay.
visitor
Yeah.
center, they loved it because they're like, hey, we're going to go watch an Olympic hopeful do a pommel horse routine. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, these strangers walk in the gym, they get around the horse. I got to raise my hand and do my routine. And it put me in that feeling every day of, and when I was raising my hand, I wasn't at the gym with these people. I was at the Olympics, you
Right.
know? And so those are the opportunities I looked for to put myself in places of failure or success as much as I could.
Mm-hmm.
And so that all really paid off. And I ended up making the world team in 95. I was the 6th best gymnast in the country. And then 96, I was the 3rd best gymnast in the country. And they took 7 on the team then. Now they only take 6, I think. And
Mm-hmm.
I made the Olympic team, and it was the greatest experience of my life. I mean, the fact that in '84, I saw it in my country, and that was my, my driving goal. Like, that's what I want to do. And I still remember on television seeing the '84 men's Olympic team. It was at the Apollo Pavilion at UCLA. They came out of the curtain and they put their hands in there and had those '84 red, white, and blue things on, and everybody just erupted, American
Hmm.
flags and everything. And I'm like, that's what I want to do. And when I got to Atlanta, I was the first one out of the curtain, put my hand in the air, raised it up, and everybody went bananas. It was
I
at the
believe it,
Georgia
dude.
Dome. There's 30,000 people there. So it was the most surreal moment of my life, of being a 9-year-old seeing that, and then not just getting to do it, but do it in your own country. Like I was so blessed to hit that timing, right? So, and then, after that, I just started doing a lot of appearances and stuff,
Hmm.
like at camps and gyms and, gymnastics seminars and all this stuff. And one of the ones I came to was in Knoxville, Tennessee. I was here for a week. It was 50 boys. And I looked across the gym, saw this beautiful girl. And I said, I'm going to marry that girl. Ended up going back to Los Angeles, packed my U-Haul, moved to Tennessee until she finished college. And while I was there, the guy that introduced me to my wife said, I got this little camp. Can you help me make it bigger? And I said, sure. I said, but if I'm going to be involved, we got to rename it. We got to change some things. We got to make it like a camp. Because before it was like you'd stay at a family's house, and
Oh, okay.
it was
Yeah.
very, And so I said, we're going to all stay in a hotel. We're going to get school buses. We're going to take them to the pool. We're going to take them to the lake. And when we renamed it Flip Fest. And so it was just I don't want to say a hobby, but it wasn't like I started off going, this is what I was doing. It was just something to do at the time.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And it just kept growing and growing and growing. It went from 50 kids to 200 to 400, and got to the point we moved back to Los Angeles when we got married. And my wife and I were like, are we going to keep doing this, or what are we going to do? Because we'd come back to Knoxville to do the camp.
Hmm.
And finally we're like, well, we don't want to raise kids in LA. Let's just move back to Knoxville and go the next step with it. And so I actually then joined forces with my business partner now, who's John Roethlisberger, who's a 3-time Olympian, and said, hey, do you want to take the next step with me in this camp? Let's find a piece of property and really, do it up, build some cabins. And he said yes. And so we started looking at properties. At the 6th one, we pulled up on this property. I'm sitting here right now looking at the lake, and we saw that's a lake, and I'm like, this is it. And so we bought it. We were crazy as hell. I look back now, like, I can't believe we thought it was going to be a success.
Well, I don't think it was one of those where it was like a guaranteed thing. It was just
God,
this
no.
feels right. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah, but
more what it was.
my naiveness at that time was the best thing for me, because I really like,
Sure.
and I still try to get myself there, but I know reality a little more now I'm getting older. But I really did believe, like my mom said, I was like, anything you want to do, you think it and work at it, you're going to get it. There's nothing out of your reach. And so, yeah, so we've been here. This is our 25th year. Um, None of my kids did gymnastics real far. My daughter did it. My oldest daughter did it a little bit. My youngest daughter is doing it now. My 2 boys can all do backflips and stuff, but they never did organized gymnastics. And I always wanted all my kids to do music. And so I got Hudson first into piano, and then he wanted to do guitar, and he showed a lot of promise. And then someone said he needs to see Andy Wood. And then he started working with Andy. And then I said to Andy, hey, man, I got this place. I want to do this camp. And at first he didn't really understand, those guys get hit up with all kinds of stuff. And finally he got it. He's like, well, let's go look at the property and everything. And so that's where Woodshed was born. And Woodshed is really, it's the same philosophy as Flip Fest. It's
Yeah.
like Flip Fest gymnastics is a conduit to bring people together to change people's lives. And in the process, they're going to be better musicians or better people. I mean, I try to tell people all the time, like, you don't have to be a guitar player to come to Woodshed. I sit down for every seminar I watch and get something out of, and I can't play one chord. I can kind of play a chord, but not very good. And so the friendships that come out of it and all that stuff, and just seeing that camaraderie that we were talking about at the beginning, where you just can't explain it. It's bigger than music, and bigger than seeing your heroes, and that's the coolest part of it. And like I said, the friendships of attendees that are like best friends, or we talk all the time, and I love it. It's
Well,
just a cool thing.
that was one of the things that kind of threw me off, and not in a bad way at all, but I wasn't expecting that. Like the people that have been there for every Woodshed event, there
Yeah.
is a close bond that I just
Hmm.
wasn't expecting for that.
Yeah.
And it kind of blew me away. I was like, oh, and that's kind of when the light bulb went off. I'm like, dude, this is more than just a 4-day guitar clinic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is something completely different, you know.
Yeah.
And to be
And it's set
fair,
up for that. Good.
yeah. Well, to be fair, I didn't I've never interacted with anything like that. So I was a little bit more, unfortunately, I think I was a little bit more withdrawn just because I didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
it was
Yeah.
something so foreign to what I was used to.
Yeah. Yeah, I can totally see that. And we have people there who come to Flip Fest too, and we tell them the same thing. We're like, hey, this can go by quick. Get into it. Like take it by the reins and understand it. And I think that's the big difference with Woodshed is, I mean, of course we need to make money and we want to make money, but it's like way down on the list. And
Yeah.
it shows because we really haven't made very much money because it's an expensive event. It's hard to bring all these people in. It's a bigger ticket item because of how big the budget is to get these amazing guitar players there. But Andy and I always said, we're like, that's not our focus. Like our focus is making this a life-changing event. And if we do that, the success will come. And so when people come, we really want them to feel what you're feeling of just this community that they've met and these people they can talk to online, phone. You're having a rough day, you've met this guy you can call that understands you, that you've spent this amazing time with your guitar heroes. That's the coolest thing to watch.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, when I showed up, it was the property itself is one absolutely beautiful, especially in that time of year. Anybody that's been to East Tennessee already knows, but
Yeah,
it's such a you guys nailed it on that, like, well, we're gonna go for it sort of idea of what when you bought the
yeah,
property or whatever.
yeah,
But like I still just can't relay like being able to sit down and wake up and eat breakfast with, some of these amazing people. And there's no pressure either. It's just like hanging
yeah,
out. It's just all
yeah.
guys, girls just hanging out, man. It's not
Oh, it's so great to see, like, look over and see Steve Morris just eating lunch with some people, or Brent
right.
Mason, and they and it's the coolest thing is that if there's yeah, at first there are people like, oh my gosh, can't believe that's Steve Morris or Brent Mason, but by like day two, they're just like anybody else. Like this is
Yeah.
like, hey Steve, you want to sit here? And the guests we bring in are want to be like that. They
Hmm.
want to just be part of the crew. And people seem to really give them their respect at Woodshed and give them their time. They got a place to go if they need to get away and stuff. But it really turns into that of just everybody's kind of on the same level.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure you've experienced the opposite end of this. We like to tend to put people on a pedestal
Hmm.
if they have some sort of accolade or, some massive success that we can see.
Yeah,
And I think we kind of lose that aspect with some of those people of like, dude, they're just still people.
yeah,
They're not any different than me or you. They just have a different path and which way they went in life that
yeah.
happened to make them, a little bit more successful, quote unquote, than the average person. So,
Yeah, and we've had, and the same thing goes for the people that are coming, whether it's in gymnastics, guitar, or
yeah.
whatever having you. If you bring someone, you have two types of people. You bring a special guest that's famous and everyone knows them and everything, and that person is either coming from two reasons. They're coming to watch you celebrate them and their success, or they're coming to use their success to put you up on a pedestal to feel like you can get that success. And that second person is what we're looking for. And we've had some of the first people, and I was looking at Andy and I'm like, nope, never again. And then he'd be like, yep, I agree. And same thing with gymnastics here. It's like, we'll have people that are coming in that are the biggest names in the sport, and they are just there to be that person.
Hmm.
And then we have people come in that are maybe a great college gymnast or made an Olympic team, didn't get a gold medal, or maybe got a silver medal, whatever. They're not like the household name,
Right.
but maybe it was Olympics a long time ago. But when they leave, every kid knows their name and every kid is like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to come back because blank is going to be here. And to see that when kids react to that and they're not coming back because blank, has a gold medal, they're coming back because that person changed their life, and that's really awesome.
Yeah, and I mean Andy is one of those guys that I've had the opportunity to sit down and have him on the show, and especially meet him at Woodshed and stuff like that. Um, One of the most genuine people I've ever met,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and he is the epitome of what you just said of lifting other people up with his success more so
Yeah.
than focusing on what he's done.
Well, and it's like you said, of like they're just like everyone else. I had this conversation with Andy a couple weeks ago, and he's like, where he's at in his career now. He's like, John, for the first time, I feel like I belong. Like I feel
Right.
like I'm, I'm what the rapping was saying,
Hmm.
and I'm like, really? In my mind, I'm like, really?
Right.
Like I met you. You were freaking amazing, and you don't realize that, like even Andy Wood at that time when I met him, he's, you know, uh, still one of the most amazing guitars ever,
Yeah.
but in his mind, he hadn't made it. He didn't understand himself and his confidence of what he's kind of here to do, and now he does, and that's so cool to watch and see, and for him to grow into himself, and he's such a real person and so passionate and loving and helpful and giving that it's just so great to be partners with him.
Well, and it's good that, you know, someone like yourself has partnered with him for an event like this because having, and I'm sure you know too, having the wrong sort of business partner is like the worst thing that could
Oh,
ever
yeah.
happen. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? If you guys shared like skewed ideals or anything, like this camp wouldn't work, you know?
Right.
It and same thing on your end with Flip Fest too. Like if you had somebody else that you were working with where it just wasn't gelling, dude, it like yeah, it would be a great time for everybody to come out and have a good time, but it's not
Yeah.
gonna be the same at all.
Right.
So,
Right.
well, um, I'm super excited this year. I already booked my spot for it. Um, is there anything kind of I kind of want to get like the behind the curtain a little bit if we can, you know, like
Yeah.
I can't imagine how insanely busy that 4 days is for you guys. So like what are some of the challenges like and we can talk about Flip Fest too of like organizing these long camps that we have to kind of do. So what's some challenges that you have to encounter and overcome with that?
Well, it's funny because Flip Fest, I don't really have, and I'm not even kidding. Other than property stuff and improvements and
Hmm.
construction and stuff, which a lot of that I don't even have to be involved with because my business partner handles a lot of that up here, and I handle some other
Okay.
stuff we have going on in Knoxville. So as far as Flip Fest, when the key is switch is turned on, I don't really do anything. Like I
Oh,
don't,
okay.
like I don't have to do much. My staff is so
Right, right,
so dialed in and so good, and it's such a big operation now with so many things that we've now. When we first started, it was opposite, and we were all
right,
doing everything, so that's kind of nice. But then it's funny because then Woodshed comes in and I'm back to square one. Like
right.
I'm like I was back in 2000, uh, and but it's really not that bad. I like that kind of pressure. I kind of
Hmm.
thrive on it. I kind of just get in the mode of, hey, these people are coming. We just gotta make sure it's the best and best it can possibly be for them. And when there's a problem, harping the problem, you're just like, all right, I'll get it fixed for you. Like, boom, we'll do this, we'll do that. It's just problem solving over and over again, which I enjoy. Um, so it's a lot. It's funny because it's kind of a lot getting up to it, and then when those doors open, it doesn't stop until
Yeah,
Sunday and everybody leaves, and
right.
it's a lot. It's tiring, but it's a good tire. I really enjoy it. I love the friendships I've made with it and seeing people and all that stuff. And there's really not. behind the curtain, that's what's really great about it is like, yeah, there's behind the curtain. I see some things, all the guests stay over at our house, like my whole house. They all take, I don't even stay in my house. I stay in the med shed
Okay,
because I
cool.
give,
Yeah.
I give all the artists my house and my business partner's house and stuff. And so they have their own place and stuff. But, so there's some stuff behind the curtain that I see or hang out with the guys but really everything's out in the open. It's really, really cool, and all the artists are so great and so professional and so easy to work with and just down for the cause. So most like 99% of the time, it's very, very smooth with a lot of
Yeah.
work.
Well, I was going to say it did seem seamless, and I know it has been going on for a handful of years now, but it
Mhm.
it didn't seem it never felt rushed, it never felt unplanned, it never felt like, oh, we don't know what to do here,
Right.
you know? And I can 100% attribute that because I mean, I don't know if you remember, we had a slight issue with the scheduling when I came in
Hmm.
of the name on the card versus, who I
Yes.
was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and that was resolved in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like
Was
not
it
even.
was it did your wife sign up for you or something
Yeah,
or
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's the biggest thing I have which I'm going to fix this year because we use Shopify and you can't really like have like a form.
Right, right,
So I'll get like Linda, Albertson, and I'll have to email Linda. And I always feel bad because we get women that are guitar players that want to come, but I don't want to be like, is this for your husband? And so I'm like,
right.
are you the attendee? Because then they get here and I'll have Linda if it's a shared cabin with a girl, another girl, and so I learned that one, and you were one of the ones.
No, well, in all seriousness, it wasn't even really an inconvenience at all because, like I said,
Mhm.
it was kind of like I pulled in and like, oh well, this is not right, and then like I said, in 5 minutes it was resolved. So
Yeah,
it's not even an issue, you know what I mean? And
awesome.
it gets a little confusing from time to time. I'm sure that like just that part of the logistical side of it does get a little challenging from time to
Yeah,
time, but like you said, man, I mean, clearly by what you said of thriving in the problem solving world, you obviously do because it was done
yeah.
and over
Oh,
with. You know
thank
what
you,
I
man.
mean? Yeah,
Thank
dude.
you.
But definitely learned my lesson this time. Mine made sure that everything is me, so that way
Yeah.
there's no.
And I'm on the other side doing the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, before we wrap this up, where let's get some social media stuff out of the way as far as the woodshed itself. Where can everybody go to kind of check this out and
Yeah. The best thing is woodshedguitarexperience.com. And then our Instagram is at Woodshed Guitar Experience. And it's it, it, if you have any questions or anything, just email us and we have we have some hotel spots available. All our private rooms are taken up. Those go real fast. We have some shared rooms available. Oh, and we started our camping option this time too.
oh, really?
Um, yeah, no one's taken us up on it yet, but I'm hoping someone does because I was like, my whole goal is to get people here that would really benefit from it. So it's hard and Andy too, that people that can't afford it. So we're always, and everyone thinks it's a big ticket item, like we're killing it, but we're just trying to pay the bills. like, and so I've started to try to make some smaller priced items, like day price items and stuff for people, that are having trouble affording the big ticket items. So we have a camping option now where you can bring a tent and, set up and we'll feed you and all that stuff, but you basically camp.
Yeah. Well, that's
And
rad.
yeah,
Well, and I've heard some people, and I've seen the comments online of, "Oh, that's just way too expensive. That's just blah blah blah." It's like, okay, but you're also like, I've seen VIP packages go for thousands of dollars where you get
yeah,
45 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay,
Or
you're
$700 for a ticket to a concert now.
right, right. So
And there's no chef in that $700 or all these meet and greets.
yeah, I mean, I can attest. It's definitely not cheap, but by all means, you get fed, drinks, the all the clinics, the being able to sit down with some of these guys,
Yeah.
worth it every single time. You know,
And that's a big part of it too. Like you said, drink like all the alcohol is free, and it's not. hey, you can only have these well drinks. It's like
Yeah,
it's open bar,
yeah,
and we could go get our liquor license, and we could try to. And Annie's the same way. We're like, man, when people get here, it's like, how cool is that to go on a vacation and you literally don't have to open your wallet anymore, And it's like that's the feeling I wanted. I didn't want to have to people who just stressed about buying this ticket to this thing, and then they get here and they're like, I got to spend all this money for drinks and whatever. It That's kind of our vibe, of just trying to make it an experience and everybody wins.
yeah. Well, you guys are knocking it out of the park with the woodshed for sure. I'm not in the world of gymnastics, so I can't attest to Foot Fest, but I can assume that with the way that you work, man, that it's exactly the same for that sort of environment too.
Thank you, man. Well, I got a couple of boy spots available if you want to take one next week, and
Hey, man, I'll see what I
you
can
can do it
do.
just like Woodshed.
Yeah, I think for right now I'll probably stick to woodshed. I'm sure I wouldn't do too shabby, but for right
I
now I think that's
understand.
where I'll stick with it right now. Well, John, I appreciate you taking the time, man. It was a good talk. I appreciate you coming on and giving me a little bit for your time.
Hey, man, appreciate you, man. I can't wait to see you, and great job
Absolutely.
with the podcast, man. I love these people doing podcasts and trying to get out there and do what they love and spread the joy and motivation. So it's pretty cool.
Absolutely, dude. Well, for John, all of you guys listening, we will check all of you guys next week on Man the Helm podcast.
Yeah. Have a great day.